Hey everybody, D. Lisa, the Dream Doula. I help women, badass women, who are usually business women, remember the dreams that they have at night and pull out the intuitive messages in them so that they can live their very best, most powerful, most creative life. Today, I have Charel. Please introduce yourself, Charel.
Hi, I'm Charel Morris, a badass shaman. I know Dee well. And I'm excited to be here because I have some amazing things to share and a wonderful thing to invite you to that's absolutely free.
Yeah, so we'll get into that in a minute.
Yes.
So Sherelle is a shaman and she calls herself a quantum shaman. So when you work
Yeah.
with her, she's studied many different modalities and woven them into her life and her work. And now she's helping badass women who are in business uh, with her shamanism. Tell us more about that.
Well, the shamanism started about 50 years ago.
Mm.
I'm only 30, but it started 50 years ago. And when I added to that doing some major events and conferences, in every business, everything has its own bumps and lumps and things, just like people. And I realized my client had a major problem that really did not have a solution in his traditional Harvard business world. It was a conference. It had our growth rate was astounding, but all of a sudden, a lot of local young adults started showing up because it was very inexpensive and it was 3 days that had some crazy parties with all kinds of good stuff going on. So they wanted the parties, totally fine. But then they started creating problems with our normal attendees, the people that this community was for. And people were beginning to talk with the owner and say, we don't want to come back into this. This is not good. Well, he can't raise the rate too much because his commitment to the community is to keep it accessible. You can't stand at a registration desk at an open conference and say, welcome, here's your ticket. You need to go home. We don't like you. You can't do that. It's actually illegal.
Okay, so let's stop for a minute. You
Okay.
were at a conference and it was basically for tech, geeky computer dudes.
Yes.
But then there were some maybe not so tech, not so geeky party dudes that wanted to come just party.
Yeah.
And so it was the party people versus the brainiacs. And you needed to find a way to manage that whole cacophony.
Yes.
Okay,
And I,
here comes your magic.
yeah, here comes the magic. I called my boss. I told him I had an idea. And he goes, okay, just do it. Because he knows my background and he never questions things. So the night before we were going to open, I had a group of about 12 people. We had a few drums, we had some rattles. And I walked into the hotel and said, we're going to the roof. And the lady behind the desk was like, well, you can't do that. And I was like, yes, I can. We are currently fully contracted to this hotel. My name's on the contract. I can go anywhere on this property and do basically what I want. Gotta go, call your manager. And we went up to the roof and we set up a circle and we started moving energy. Very windy in Las Vegas. Well, that's where we were. Very windy. And as this energy is moving and I'm talking and kind of creating a sense of what this energy needed to do, what it needed to do was be dropped into the ground in the center of our circle. And I called it up and it came up like a fountain. And it went out and went into the ground at the edge of the hotel property. At that point, the moment it hit the edge, the wind stopped. And I knew we made our move. And the next day, and it sort of startled a few people in the circle, but that's okay. It's a growth thing. You start understanding how these things work. The next day, when we moved into the property, it was our people. Everybody was calm. We didn't see any of the other folks running around. And throughout the 3-day conference, people kept coming up to me going, it feels like we're grown up now. It feels like the energy has changed. And a few of my top favorite hackers who were doing keynote speakers apparently talked about the shaman on the roof and why things changed. And in that period of time, that group of people who were destructive didn't show up. And in business, you would think having people not show up is not really the plan because you're losing money. But in the balancing of the energy, we had over another 1,000 people show up. So we made money, we fixed the problem, and we had a really good time on the roof.
Nice.
That's a way, if you consider the potential of integrating shaman logic and technique and ideas and all of that into business, your business will be better.
It's so interesting because if you are aware and awake these days, you know that everything is energy.
Mm-hmm.
Money is energy. Humans are surrounded by our energetic field.
We
And
are energy.
our business has its own energy as well. And so if you are a business person and your business isn't doing what you desire it to be doing, and maybe someone says, do this, advertise this way, go to this many networking meetings, do this and this and that. You're doing all the things, but it's not working out. It's probably the energy.
Yeah. Well, and here's the secret that is in my work. Your business has a spirit.
Oh.
Your business has a spirit. It comes from you. It's kind of like you birth a child and the child has a spirit. But the business has a spirit. And when you can allow yourself to kind of move into a place where you can talk to that spirit, you can have a sense of it. And yes, in business leaders, coaches, whoever, buy all kinds of stuff because it sounds really good, but it's not necessarily in their energetic field. It's there on the shelf or wherever. And it's kind of the same thing with your business. If you begin to be able to sort of read what's going on, then as you're looking at something or thinking about, the salesman sitting right there, the saleswoman is like, da, 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 da. It sounds really good. But you take a moment and just kind of sense how it's feeling within you and kind of how your business is feeling at that moment. Sounds a little odd, takes a little time, but then you can, fix a problem by going on the roof instead of trying to, they're literally, he raised the price $50 from $40. That's not going to change anyone for 3 days of partying. And, and going to 300 was not appropriate for the community. So things can change.
Now, tell me again, for this particular business, you told me earlier that they went from a certain number of attendees to like a much, much larger number a few years after you did this magic on the roof.
Yeah. Well, this conference had a really good growth rate year to year, 10, 15%. And that's kind of unheard of in that industry. And we never had a year that it dropped back, which is also not normal in that industry.
Right, right.
So we were within our first 10 years, and we'd gone from 120 or something up to when I started, when I came in on year 7, we were almost at 800. That's a nice growth point. But as we crossed over 1,000, that 15% starts adding up. So by year 15, because I was looking for a bigger property by then again, we were approaching 14, 15,000.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it
That's
just,
cool. So it wasn't like the business changed. The energy of the business changed.
well, and the energy was that the vision, I believe, from my boss as we began and it started growing and he could sense, because he's very brilliant with all of this and understanding that we weren't just this conference. We were, in essence, becoming this major tent under which all these different ways and all these different techniques and all these different elements that were coming up in terms of security and technology and AI and da 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 da. And we were the place that they came to sort of announce their presence into the communities.
Mm.
And there are variations of this conference, smaller variations, all over the world. And so it's kind of astounding. It's this year is the 35th year. And last year, I think we had 33,000 people.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
Wow.
it just keeps growing. And there's the whole art department. We have artists coming in and just everything. So it was very much out of my realm when I started working with him because I was doing shamanic trainings in the desert. But the first day I was ever, the owner invited me to come see what it really was. And within about 45 minutes, I saw a group where these really young guys, all tatted up and pierced and stuff, were at this table with this man who could have been my grandfather, asking him about, well, were you there when they first saw this? Were you, he worked at NSA. So the answers would be yes, he was there when crazy security things came in. But watching young people in our world, in the US community, go to, in essence, their grandfather to learn really touched me. I mean, it's like that's one of the things we miss in our families because we're so
Yes.
spread out. And then there
Yes.
was a young man I met shortly thereafter who had flown in from England, maybe 20, 21, and never been there before. I said, well, why are you here? He goes, well, I'm working with some hackers in the UK, and we're going in and shutting down sites that are selling children. And the more hackers we have, the more we can shut down.
Oh, that's beautiful because yeah, when people think about hackers, you think about them doing
Bad
more,
things.
yeah,
Well, that's
evil
what I
things,
thought.
terrible things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't
I
know.
didn't think about hacking for good. Yeah.
Yeah. And there
Hackers for good. There's probably a website for that. But let's change our conversation into how you help business owners now, and your program called Your Own Energetic Economy. So
Yeah.
tell me how could I have my own energetic economy? Isn't the economy outside of me?
Well, there's an economy outside of you, yes, and outside of me. But there's also, as we say, everything is energy.
Yeah.
So the first part of establishing your own energy economy is learning how to not just your energy,
Not just let it disperse
not
around you,
just let it
leak it.
go out,
Ah.
but
Mm,
also but holding it and caring for it.
mm,
And within that, it's learning that, as one of my teachers would say, we realize everything is energy and our body is energy. What we need to realize is that not all the energy in our body is our energy.
oh, yes. I was just talking to a young person about that the other day. How
Yeah.
sometimes you can spend time with someone and then you feel icky afterwards
Yeah.
because you got their icky energy. They
Uh-huh.
probably feel great. You got their
Yeah.
energy on you. And I said, honey, she's 18. I said, you can take a shower and wash it down the drain,
Yeah. The
or
thing,
many other techniques as
yeah,
well. But
if it's
yeah.
if it's someone from, say, a past lifetime, part of your family lineage in a sense,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
who maybe died in World War One and doesn't really know they're dead yet
Oh, yeah.
because they're just out somewhere and something happens, and um, that some energy of that being may be with you because your family. There's
Right.
a connection. It may have been from something that you experienced in another life. There's also possibilities it's something from a future. We don't
Mm-hmm.
know all these things, but they can all be removed, and not removed and like we don't throw them in the fire. What I've learned over the last year, and I never thought I'd go back to training in shamanics, but it's been amazing, is that there are angels and shamans out in the ethers,
Yes.
and they're looking for these beings so they can get them back on their path. So it's actually, you're doing this other energy, you're treating it well and treating it to having its life kind of being a bit more in a direction or understanding what's going on.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so in doing those things, I mean, it's one of the reasons in my program, we do one of the sessions will be doing the installation of a band of power, which is an ancient shamanic traditions from the Incas in South America 1,000+ years ago, having to do with, by energy, working with the five elements. So we have the earth, the wind, the fire, the water, and the ether. And as we wrap ourselves in these energies, one of their main elements is to protect us. And so, like you say, when you're with somebody and it's a little and you don't really want to be talking to them, they're just, they're not letting that energy get to you.
Right. Right. If
And
you have your band of power
yeah,
installed.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And if it's what they perceive, because they can perceive from quite a distance, if they perceive it as a heavier energy, then they kind of work together and get it into the earth and let it,
Mm,
because everything
mm.
will be cleared that way. And it's especially with what is going on in the chaos.
Yeah.
Um, one of the women that I recently did this with had really been kind of off since about the first of the year. And she just wasn't being herself, and she was in a lot of pain, and she would be sleeping, just not her. And we put the bands on, and I got a note the next day and said, I woke up this morning and I'm not in pain and I'm not stressed out and I'm not worried about what your president's going to do to the Ukraine. I mean, all of that was in her and just
Right.
totally holding her down, and painful as well, not just an emotional thing, a painful thing. And she said, it's all good. It's gone. I'm good. Let's go.
Oh, that's so beautiful. So even if someone um, doesn't have their own business, you can help them install this
Oh,
band of
yeah.
energy, and they can just be more in their body in a good way and less stressed out. So it eases anxiety.
It will, if it
Yeah.
comes in that way. I mean, for easing anxiety, I often um, work with Michel Pascal's work.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
We discuss his time with the monastery and my time as a shaman and back 4,000 years where his work comes from. They all work together. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's kind of I mean, when I'm working with someone, it's kind of what's going on right here and right now. That will deal with the immediacy. If there's a lot that starts creating stress, I would take them in a few more places. But
Right.
the bands are quite astounding, and a lot of people have found their power animal because somebody has done an event and they power it, and that's great. But you need to know how to work with it to make it more effective. And
So wait, just knowing that you have a power animal and thinking about it from time to time isn't the whole message. You can
oh,
do more.
so much more.
Okay.
And I actually have 7 power animals now.
Oh my goodness. So give us an example for somebody listening. They have a power animal, they know what it is. Maybe they just know about one. How can they do one thing that they might not know about already?
Well, I would say the first thing is to actually go and find some information about that actual animal.
As if it were an animal on the earth.
A real animal, because it is a real
Okay.
animal for most of us. I did a power animal ceremony with a bunch of 5-year-olds, and we had a lot of dinosaurs show up. But
I love it.
yeah,
5-year-olds and their power animals. How
yeah,
fun would that be?
they were so excited. I was like, oh yeah, that makes so much sense. But say it's a wolf.
Okay.
Wolves are amazing creatures. They band together for life. If the male wolf, who's probably the one that they're going to be killed at some point in life, probably the male because he's hunting and all of that. The female is mourning for at least 3 months, up to a year, and then will
Mm.
remarry because they are partner animals. They have that. And there's amazing things that, none of us watch the internet, so none of us see these things. Of this video that was done of watching the whole clan of the wolves, and it's several rounds of children kind of thing, going up a trail. And you would think the strongest, fastest wolf would be in the front. It's not, it's the elders. Because
Oh,
that way
wow.
they never get left behind. the elders know that maybe they get killed, and that, that's, and then it starts into sort of the children, the younger children, and there's some very strong wolves in between the elders and the children, making sure the front is okay. And then we go back, and then we kind of get some of the major, probably sons of the head wolf kind of watching. And way back is the strongest wolf, because that way they can't be attacked from the back.
That's
And
fascinating. That's
when
fascinating.
when they finally returned like 7 wolves to one of our national forests that they removed them from because we know best, all kinds of little elements and little critters and butterflies and, raccoons, all these
Hmm.
animals came back because they'd left, partially because they're part of the wolves feeding in a sense, but they also are protected by the wolves from other things. I mean, it's just all of those different animals connect with each other. The fact that my first animal is a jaguar and he's still my key jaguar. And when I moved to New Mexico, within that year, they announced that jaguars were coming up from Mexico and back into New Mexico because we used to have jaguars all the way across the southern part of the country.
Wow, that's so cool.
Oh, a
You
jaguar.
brought the Jaguars with you.
Yeah. And my jaguar is involved with my business a lot in just kind of odd ways here and there. Um, I recently got a wolf, and it's because I need to build my team. And wolves are amazing at taking their family and creating a team. I'm not planning to have a family at this point in my life, but I have a team that works with me, and they're growing, and I want to grow. And being able to see life as how I create a space for more than me to be in it, protected in it, grow in it, and my awareness of everybody's needs and how we work together.
Nice.
That's what that one does.
Oh, I
I
love that.
I
Thank
have
you.
a condor who only shows up when I'm working with somebody who has illness, and usually it's cancer.
Mm.
Or if someone I've worked with is in the hospital having surgery, and all of a sudden this shadow comes into my vision going, okay, it's going to take out everything that can't stay in the human body.
Oh, that is so cool. Oh, wow.
So
Tell
the,
us a little bit about the book that you just
oh, the
participated
book.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her Bold Business Moves. It's an anthology, which I've actually clearly understand now as having multiple writers.
Mm-hmm.
And this is being written by 13 women and a woman who's the head of the publishing company and quite a writer. So she contributed the first chapter. And it's women who are in business. It's women who are entrepreneurs and are sharing their like favorite trick or perfect reasoning why you go do this to get here. And in my chapter, which I think is a little different in many ways, is how you can take the sacred shamanic world and the business world and integrate them. And from my point of view, it's not about getting rid of what you learned in school or what you learned from a book or what you learned from another coach or another teacher about how to do business. It's adding on things about how to do things. And energy is a very good point of view, 20 years ago, energy would be us paying the electric bill.
Right, that's energy. It comes in a cord.
Yeah, and that's about it. Or I'm too tired and I need a day off. Those were the ways
Right.
we looked at energy. Now, realizing that you can take that to a whole other level. And I point out various things where it couldn't be solved by something in the business world, kind of like on the roof of the hotel, or that it was something where, and it's in the program and it's in the book, where we are looking at something, we want something to expand and grow, and there's this tiny glitch, tiny glitch. And I couldn't get the hotel to go, it's like, it's the contract, we don't change the contract. And it's like, I went to the department that it affects, they have to flip a switch. They're like, it's no big deal.
Mm.
And when I finally went in to do the final setup of things for that year's event, I was flying in and I realized that my Jaguar was on the plane. My Jaguar has been in other countries and parts of this world with me, but he just shows up. This time he actually came on the plane and really liked riding in the silver limo from the airport to the hotel. He was kind of having
Oh,
a
that's
good
cool.
time.
Oh, that's cool.
But his presence, when the head of sales walked in, threw that person's power animal for a loop. Now, I'm pretty much guessing the head of a major multinational company may not know what his power animal is, and that's totally fine. But that power animal picked up the energy of my Jaguar being in the room, and he could not wait. That head of the department was like, I don't have time for this. Yes, you can have everything you want. I'm going now.
Right. So your power animal came to
Yeah,
make everything easy when it
well,
was supposed to be difficult. They were making it difficult
they
up
were
until
making it
then.
very difficult, and I wanted one more try. But I also, as I was preparing to leave, it was, I want this done, and I'm willing to let go to the universe for whatever needs
Mm,
to happen.
mm.
And so
Yeah, yeah.
basically, it got turned upside down.
Nice.
And my community, who really like to book their rooms a year ahead, because we always run out of rooms close at hand. We booked maybe 300 more rooms in each of the properties that year because they would give us some and sell out. And they're gone? Yes. And give us more. And they'd sell out. And and I think the hotel also realized in that moment or that experience that there are some clients that need little bits and pieces changed, and it's going to be in your favor.
Right, right. Because they were telling you at that point, we don't book that far in advance. We don't do it.
Yeah, it's what we do. We don't do it otherwise. And it's like,
Mm,
okay, I have rooms for 1,000 people, let's say. That's what I have in that 6 months. Ta-da. I have 12,000 coming. Where do you think they're sleeping?
at someone else's hotel
How
or
nice
yours?
that you're sharing that with all the other hotels in town. Maybe not your best choice.
Right. Once you explained it like that, they're probably like, oh, wait a minute.
I did.
Hang on a minute.
They just, it's a multinational corporation.
Mm, mm.
Otherwise quite delightful. So, but we got the chance.
Okay, we talked briefly about your book chapter, which you talk about shamanism in the business world. Now
Uh-huh.
tell me about your free class that you're going to do. And when this goes live, it'll be soon, coming soon.
Yes, yes. And I hope you'll be one of my affiliates, so you'll have all kinds of good information for your folk. Um, I'm going to talk about really this and why it's important to do this. I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
kind of go into the various elements that will happen in the 7 weeks and why, and answer questions for people who are kind of going, I'm not understanding, because it's not a traditional thing. If you're thinking ways, and one of the things I will make clear with people is that in moving into understanding shamanic world or shamanic ways of doing things or experiences, it's not a requirement that you step out of a church that you're in. It's not at all. It's not that you have to leave your business or what you learned at some school somewhere. It's coming in from the indigenous tribes who have been walking this world for 4,000 plus years are the people that we started realizing we need to go to about how to keep the earth healthy,
Mm-hmm.
how
Mm-hmm.
to deal with fires. There's things that were known way back when that totally apply into the realm of business or your life and how you're feeling with things. And it's not requiring anybody to step away from something. It's more about just opening up because there's so much more in our world that we can learn and know about.
So you're like the frosting on the cake or the spice on top of your dinner.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah. You don't have to take away from anything. And I went to a networking meeting today, and one of the people was talking about some work she does in the world. And she said if she does it here in Ojai, everybody's talking about they're angels and they're spirit guides and they're this and that. She said if I go somewhere like Arkansas,
Uh-huh.
people see Jesus.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. You're just
Uh-huh.
looking for this energetic field around you. And what do you call it? You can call it whatever it is for you.
Yeah.
And none of those names that you might come up with are wrong. So you don't have to believe in woo woo to go all the way in woo with
Not at
Charel.
all. Not at all. I
Yeah.
used to, I mean, I came up through various things and I have family in Texas, so we won't really, I mean, they have a very different approach with things. But my sense of it is, there's this creator energy. Great,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
wonderful. It's been around forever.
Yes.
And so if 4,000 years ago, human beings started walking around on Earth in different places of the Earth, and things would happen or stars would come out, and maybe they saw this amazing eagle so big they'd never seen it before, and that must be the creator. And that in their story of origin becomes their creator.
Yeah.
Apparently, in most of the stories of origin of the tribes and humans, begins in a garden. Now, a bunch of us that came down into looking more like this at some point decided to eat something and then think they were terrible and awful and shamed and left the garden. In a lot of the other origin stories, they were in the garden and learned to talk to the trees.
Oh, I like that story so much better.
Yeah. Or maybe connected with the animals or
Yeah.
the land. it's I think that the magic of what is often referred to as God or the infinite or whatever is that it knows us so well, it shows up in a way we can take it, we can see it, we can see that tree that's blossoming, and we've never seen that blossom before. And
Beautiful.
that is what we then go to as our creator,
Beautiful.
you know? And if we
Oh,
just
beautiful.
didn't fight over it, it would be so much better. Anyway, but yeah.
So, Charel, your free course is called The 7 Ways, and then you have a 7-week course that you're introducing to people. Is that why you called it The 7 Ways? Or
Yeah.
is it because seven means many in multiple religious
Well,
traditions?
it's sort of the same for
Okay.
me because 7 is one of the numbers that I'm very connected to.
Mm-hmm.
A person that I work with kept referring to it as 6 weeks or six. I said, listen, you say 6 weeks, I'm going to add a lab. I don't care. We're going to cover 7 weeks because that feels right to me.
Yeah, yeah.
And so we shifted it around. And now we all agree on 7 ways for my program. Her programs are in different elements.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. So people can work with you in so many ways. You can help them in their business one-on-one, I assume.
Mm-hmm.
And you can, or they could sign up for your course. And if they want a little taste, they can read your chapter in the
Yes.
anthology. We'll put the notes in the show notes or how to get the book. I'll put the notes in the show notes, how to um, sign up for your free course. And also, if you want to just go straight into working with Charel, because you know she's amazing, I'll put a link in there too. So you can just click on it,
Yeah.
sign up, and spend 7 weeks with her. When is that going to start?
That's going to start May 21st.
Okay. Oh,
I'm
that's my
very in.
parents' wedding anniversary.
Oh, nice. Bring them.
Oh,
We will join and celebrate. I'm
yes, maybe
very
I
into
will.
putting my programs on Wednesdays.
Okay. Okay, beautiful. And so live on Wednesdays, but if you miss it, you can listen to a recording, I bet.
Of the workshop,
Not the workshop, but the class.
the class, probably.
Okay,
I have to see what all goes in and whether or not it all. You will have access to it with at least 2 weeks after because
got
if
it.
you miss a day,
Yeah.
not a problem. We'll cover that. Having it forever, I don't know. Some things I feel right with that. Some like the band of power. Somebody did that and said, "Can I have the?" Not yet. No, not yet.
Okay.
Um,
So,
I'm
so
looking at.
some things you have to come live to, which is beautiful.
Well, it just feels right because I'm moving by what I'm seeing, even
Hmm.
though we're on Zoom and such. And we will have secret. I'm going to have my new home online by then. So I don't think we'll be doing Zoom for either the workshop or the program. We're going to go
Oh,
into our own little space. So you're going to come sit in here with me or something like that.
oh, cool. Yeah. Yeah, we tried that on one thing. That was fun. Everybody got a seat. All right. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. So that is, I'm so excited with that. We're going to, I still don't know how to put it together because I don't understand the whole thing,
The
but
virtual classroom.
I'm like, well, no, but you have to put stuff in it. I want
Well, then
stuff.
there's that. Well, you can do it. If you can calm down an entire hackers community and grow their world from a few hundred to 15,000, you can figure out this thing. I know you can.
Okay, I'll go with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, right on. And I believe in you, so I know you'll do it.
We're gonna get there. But
Yeah.
thank you
So
so
thank you,
much.
Charel, for being here today, sharing your book, your free workshop, your paid class, and yourself.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye bye.
I'm just going to hang up. Bye.